unfortunately, cigarettes, chains. That's a big one because we have so many, whether trailers, or camp trailers, travel trailers.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, sometimes people aren't very careful with their chains.
Catalytic converters don't pull off into grass.
Yes,
and also, then of course you have your accidents and your breakdowns, so maybe someone's brakes gets too hot. So a lot of the man-made fires, what we would call man-caused, would be along our roadways. And then the other is generally lightning that causes the natural, and that's actually a higher number. That's 55% of the fires over the last 20 years have been caused by lightning strikes, things like that. So a few fires from campfires or illegal campfires, or people just messing up out in the forest while they're camping. Right now we don't have any fire restrictions, but you know, please be careful.
Yes, and you know, our crews are just incredible. Our wildland fire crews, the town of Payson Fire Department, you know, responds to fires in quite a large radius around the town. They provide support, so we're very, very thankful for all of our firefighters.
Yes, we are, and it's coming up on that season, so just remember, fires can start in town and out of town. So don't be the one that causes a fire because you're a barbecuer or because of something you're doing. Fire-wise your home, fire-wise your property.
Oh yes, that's a big one. That really, you know, helps, and it's great to have programs like the Blattner Brush Pit. That is open, I believe, on Saturdays.
Saturdays.
Every Saturday, and that's out on Highway 260 eastbound, just past Diamond Point.
Yes, it's on the right-hand side, and there's usually a sign out there for people to see. It comes up quickly, so watch yourself. You are on the highway, everybody's going fast, but
Zooming.
That's a great thing. There's also another one on the control road up by Pine, the Pine Pit, and I'm not sure their hours, but I'm pretty sure it's every Saturday as well.
Or Sunday. I think that one is Sunday.
They're only on Sundays.
Yes, I think they alternate, so Blattner is Saturday and the Pine Pit is Sunday, I believe. Or at least that was last year,
Yeah,
the schedule.
that triggers the memory. So.
Yeah.
And then of course you can also dump your green waste at the Buckhead Mesa landfill. Now that's not a free service.
No.
But it is set aside so that it is recycled.
Well, and that's something that is great about the Blattner Brush Pit and also Pine Strawberry Fuel Reduction group and their Pine Pit is that those pits are free. They'll take contributions, donations, but because of the county, because of, for the Blattner Pit, the town, because of the Pine Strawberry Fuel Reduction Group and all of their fundraising efforts and everything they do, those pits are made available to residents to dump their brush at no charge.
Every year I have some discretionary funds, and so I donate to both of those pits, the Blattner and the Pine Pit. So I just got done with the Blattner economic development grant money, to be specific, and then the Pine Fuel Reduction has submitted an application, so that's in process. And so we're doing that, and I gotta say though, I know we want to cover as much as we can in 30 minutes. I've got more notes here than we can do that in. But speaking of our landfills, you know, we have basically two landfills in Gila County. They're both owned and operated by Gila County government. And the one in Globe area is called Russell Gulch, and it's about 35 years that we've had it. And then the other one is the Buckhead Mesa one up here on the way to Pine. And we've had that about 35 years. And the Buckhead Mesa landfill is scheduled to probably be full, or should I say to capacity, by the year 2027. So we're looking at the expansion. In fact, there's meetings today with the Forest Service about expanding that property. And so we're in that process right now. The Russell Gulch landfill has, in my opinion, learning what I've learned lately, has been neglected in a sense and not really planned for forward thinking. And so it caught us off guard. We're having to spend some money and that to move some things along. But we should be opening here in mid-June to a whole new area called number 3. And it'll be a whole new area, and that'll last about another 20 years. So yeah, always having to look at that sort of a thing into the future. And what happened with Russell Gulch, unfortunately, was that there was no planning going forward. It just all of a sudden, oh, whoops, we have a problem. Why wasn't somebody looking at the fact that we're going to be full by this date? Why haven't we been looking at the upgrade? And so we have some new management now, new people in place, fantastic people, and they're pulling it all together. So we had a work study on it yesterday at our Board of Supervisors meeting. And so we're moving forward on that. Now, part of the discussion about our landfills, and the difference between a dump and a landfill, by the way, a dump used to be what they used to do, which was they had a big hole in the ground somewhere, either because of a mining operation or whatever, and they just threw the garbage in there. Now, a landfill has a bladder, a lining, it has stuff to protect the environment, the water table, everything that's below it, and it's also operated in such a fashion to where the methane gas is taken care of, and so anyway, it's intended not to be an environmental hazard.
Gotcha.
Okay. Now, some of the things that we're talking about yesterday in our work study, and this was just talk, and I was really happy to hear it, but all 3 supervisors seemed to agree that we should try and reduce the amount of stuff going into the landfill if that stuff is usable. So you say recycle. Well, it's not a true recycle. We're not going to start today with a recycle program. But already if you go to the landfills and you have some metal, there's a place where you can throw your metal. Please don't throw it just into the regular burial part, because we don't need to do that. We can recycle that metal. We can use that metal. And so put it over in the metal pile. And if you do have brush, and even if you have metal, brush, and garbage, see if you can arrange it in such a way where you can throw your brush in the brush pile, and then your regular garbage would end up going in for burial. So we're not separating glass, we're not separating plastics and different things like they do in the valley. But we are, it looks like, I made the suggestion, let's say, that we add to the offering of what we can put somewhere else other than burying it, and it's the cardboard. Okay, so now we used to have places here in Payson, I know, where you collect cardboard, and that turned out to be a failure, mainly because people were putting other things in there besides cardboard. I mean, even a pizza box that went in there that had a piece of pizza in it or whatever was considered garbage, and then the recyclers did not want that, so the whole thing would end up having to be dumped into the dump. So it was not right, and so that was here in Payson. So if that was available though at the landfill, and by the way, when you dump cardboard, you don't pay a lot for that because it hardly weighs anything. So take your Amazon boxes, break them down, do whatever, be a good citizen that way. Try and work toward that dynamic that we're going to, kind of be cooperative as a culture going forward now. Whereas, I wasn't really that guy in the past. It's like, I just throw it in the dump, who cares? But now I care more. And I think that we can see as population grows, we just end up with giant piles of garbage, and we run out of room, and then we have to pay a lot more money to expand that. So if we can delay the expansion by just doing something with the cardboard along with the other items, then as you go to the landfill, and if there's availability soon for cardboard, put your cardboard in there. Don't put your regular garbage. You just got to drive another 50 feet to throw your regular garbage. So don't, and I think it'll stay cleaner that way. But I even suggested that we don't even try and recycle that. um, paper, the cardboard, because that's costly. Then we have to haul it to Phoenix or bundle it or whatever, and then it's a deficit,
Gotcha.
and then it becomes more of a deficit the more you go. And I said, well, look, let's do this. Let's get a shredder and shred it all into, pulverize it. And that makes great composting stuff for your garden.
Gotcha.
And other things. You can mix it with your compost, you can mix it with soil, dirt, and shredded cardboard is actually quite healthy for your garden.
Wow.
It retains water, it breaks down easily, and if you throw some worms in there, because worms love that stuff, the worms eat that, they love it, and that makes your garden healthier, and so it becomes a usable product.
Wow.
Whereas right now, the brush, we don't reuse that, but we do let the power plant come in and get it. So that's, we don't have to do much other than scoop it up into a pile. So that's not expensive for us to do. So that's great to do. But the metal, we have to do something with the metal. So either somebody has to come up and grab it, or we have to take it down ourselves and sell it. And so we make a little bit on the metal, so it's worth doing that way.
Gotcha.
But on the cardboard, let's keep it out of the landfill. Let's shred it and offer it somehow to the public for composting. So it seems like it was during the work study, so we didn't decide anything on that, but we sure sent a pretty strong message to staff that we'd like to see something going forward on that.
Well, that sounds good. So now staff will take that direction,
Yep.
say, and they'll kind of investigate, look into it, what it would take and how that would look. And,
Yes, exactly.
The actual process.
Yeah, how
Nice.
would we do that? What would it cost? The landfills do make money, not a lot, but they make money, and they also employ quite a number of people. So they pay for themselves, and they employ people, which is good for the community. They provide a service that maybe a private sector won't do, and hopefully at a rate that the private sector would not have to charge, to do it. So probably the truest drain on certain things that a community or a government provides are things like the parks, swimming pools, splash pad, and I know you deal with that more than I do. Okay, but as a local community, you don't get money back for having a park.
No.
It's
no
just
parks.
maintenance. So what you do is you do attract, though, activity. It's good. It's a great thing to have for a community, a park, a playground, ball fields, whatever. You have all of those things that the community wants, but in many ways it's sort of a deficit. It's just you're never going to make money on a pool.
No.
Ever.
No. And well, I saw there were a few in the valley that we went to, but it was through that public-private partnership. So it wasn't just the municipality. If it's just a municipality ran and operated facility, then no. And it doesn't matter where you are. If you're in the city, if you're in Phoenix, Gilbert, Flagstaff, the aquatic center up there, they operate, I think, what was it, 40% recovery. So,
well, the reason we have government is to provide things that the citizens themselves can't really get together to do. And so when it comes to a road, sidewalks, curbs, street repair, drainages, infrastructure, all the different things, as a citizen that has ownership in one home, I can't say, let's get all of our neighbors together and pave our roads. So that's why we have taxes, that's why we have a government. And so I like to approach things from a limited sense. In other words, government is there to provide basics, the minimums, and maybe a little beyond for comfort, recreation, things like that. But after that, then the private sector needs to step in and do some of that. Where if you take the idea that the government or a government entity is to provide tremendous amounts of things for you, then your taxes just simply have to go up. And we see that in some nations, actually, some communities, some nations that really tax their citizens a great deal, but they get what they quote free health care, free vacation time, free child care, free, but nothing's free. So we're here to provide for schools, for, you know, for all of those things.
And public safety. Public safety.
Public
is
safety.
The biggest expense for the town of Payson.
Right.
Public safety are fire and police.
And isn't it a shame that we have to have public safety? If everyone behaved, just think of that.
Yeah.
If everyone behaved, we wouldn't have to pay for prisons, we wouldn't have to pay for police,
Yeah.
Military, any of it. Think of that.
Yeah.
We spend so much money defending against bad players,
Yeah.
And it's really sad.
Well, but that's how it is, and that's how it's been since the beginning of time. And to expect or think that it could be any different, it's not realistic.
No, that's delusional.
It is. It's just human, you know, people keep that from happening, and yeah. It is a case where those amenities, the amenities that are provided for residents are not the money makers, but then you do, you know, you try and do things to help offset the cost.
You do, right. And so, by the way, I want to let you know that my executive assistant, Cheryl Slider, has retired.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She's been with the county 20 years.
I know she also recently married.
She recently married, and so
Yes.
she's kind of starting a new chapter in her life.
Nice.
And all that, and so she's been a great assistant, really appreciated her. She's really done well, but I do want to introduce that I have a new executive assistant, Melissa Weil, and she's local here, and she's doing a great job. She's been on the job, I think now, 3 weeks or something like that, and this is her 3rd week, I think. So she's doing great, and so her family's here, and it's just been a blessing that we're able to find a replacement for Cheryl, and so you can still get a hold of me the same ways, all of that.
Gotcha.
But Melissa is who will be now handling all of that. And so she's got a lot to learn. There's a lot going on. It's not difficult stuff, it's just a lot. You know, a lot of things that we do in a very specific way, and all of that with the agendas and all that. But so she's doing great. So just to let everybody know too, my phone number again is 928-474-7101. Okay. Now you can find all of this on the website, the Gila County website. Okay, you just go to the supervisor page, whatever. You can get all of the email and phone number contacts for all of the supervisors. Okay.
Also, you have a Facebook page, correct?
I have a Facebook page, and it's my personal Facebook page, and it's Supervisor Steve Christensen. Okay, so just look that up, and so I'm actually going to take a photo today of Melissa and myself, and we'll get that on the Facebook page so you can take a look at that.
And it's great, the Gila County az.gov website is great for information. So if you want to learn about the Gila County chip sealing, right on the front page there's a little banner you can click on, and it gives you all the dates of when the chip sealing will take place. In the different areas throughout the county.
When and where, and we'll be working on the Gila Road from the top down into Gila. There's going to be some of that going on. We're going to be doing some work up in the Whispering Pines area on paving. We're going to be doing work in Strawberry and Pine, and we have a new director of public our roads crew, what is it, Public Works.
Public Works.
And he's fantastic, just really doing a great job. We plan on investing a considerable amount of money toward our Public Works department this next year. And so expect to see good things happening. Gila County is doing really well, really great, and we have a great board of supervisors, and we have a momentum toward construction, toward remodeling buildings and acquiring things that we need for the future. We just purchased a piece of property. It's kind of across the street from where we're at here, but it's right next to our county complex on Main Street. So if you're on Main Street, beginning there at the B line, you'll pass by the Chamber of Commerce building, then you'll pass by the Sheriff's Department on the right, and then you'll pass by the Health Department on the right, and then the very next property used to be an investment group property. We just purchased that 2 weeks ago. And so we're going to be moving our IT department and the library personnel into that building. It's like a little remodeled home is what's on there right now. And it was converted into offices years ago, and it's so nice. It's just completely turnkey ready. Just walk in and we've got offices. So that's what's going to happen there. Plus it gives us a considerable expansion of property for anything that we would like to see going forward.
And yeah, even without doing any building, parking. Additional parking, because I know it was great with the new facility and the parking across the street, but there are plenty of times where the parking is full.
Right, we can park over there, and we're going to be moving. IT right now is basically at the 260 building on Highway 260, along with the library, and they're all like existing in these tiny little closet-sized rooms, and so they're just so excited to move out of there. So that'll actually help the parking over there 260 where our community development is, and it'll they'll all be parking in that dirt area over here in the new area.
Wow, that's exciting.
And so it's very exciting. And so you know, we're looking at doing something maybe with the Sheriff's Department as well. That's not that's coming up in the next month or so. We're probably going to be talking about what we're going to do there, because we've finally got the figures back on what it's going to take to remodel the existing building versus buying another property, okay? And if it makes sense to buy another property, then we need to really seriously look at that, okay?
Yeah.
Because they've outgrown it, it's too small, it's been remodeled multiple times, there's a really oldness to it, it's very old, and to remodel it's going to be a huge money amount. And so can we see something else that's comparable to that price, that's newer and that's bigger, and we already have something in mind. I'm just saying, we're working on that, and these are projects that provide vision for the future. And so I think that's what the leadership in the county should be looking at, is not just micromanaging what is going on, but to look at where we are and where we're going.
And I know with the different facilities that the town has looked at over the years, when you do the cost comparison to, you know, with remodeling versus new, or refurbishing versus new facility, the refurbishing usually is a little bit cheaper, but you just have that refurbished old building. It's still the old facility, and you could be limited in certain ways, and it maybe doesn't meet the standards of, you know, what that department is currently doing, or it doesn't provide for the future. And that
it doesn't, and that's the biggest thing. So let's say it is cheaper to remodel, but in 10 years we're going to be bulldozing it. I mean, what? So it doesn't. No, it doesn't make sense. That's stupid.
So, and that's what I looked at with different facilities. It seems like maybe for another, you know, if the remodel or refurbish is a few $1 million, for another $1 to $2 million, you could have a new facility, as long as you own the land, as long as you, whether you do it on the same piece of land or you have a piece of property, that you're not. You don't have property, or, you know, the additional costs of purchasing the property. Because here in Payson, land is a premium, so it does cost a little bit.
It is, but we're not even talking about differences that large. Okay, we're talking about much smaller differences in price to remodel. But see, think of this: if we move the Sheriff's Department to another location, then it actually opens up a lot of office space at this location they're currently in. So a minute amount of remodeling, like repainting and things like that, can be done without the extensive remodel that we're talking about doing in order to make the facility more friendly for the sheriff's department.
Yeah.
And so when it becomes something that, okay, we just need office space, we don't need the sheriff's department anymore, then it turns into something much more viable.
And that's something, whether, with all of public safety, whether it's police or fire, the facilities are very specific or specialized. So it's different than, like you said, just office space. If it's just office space that different people could go into providing different functions, that's a little different. But when you're talking about jail cells and places where people are held and just all of the security and just everything that has to go into that building.
Right. Now the jail will remain there for a while, but the building is essentially split into two parts.
Gotcha.
The jail is a completely separate part of that building. Different entrances, different everything. So it can be split usage. And so, we've got a lot going on with the county. I think we're out of time right now, but there's just so much that we can discuss that's positive, and we're going forward. We're working with the town of Payson on a few projects. We just formed a transportation authority that's going to be for the bus system. I'm excited to see where that goes. And I'm sure town of Payson is as well. And it's going to be not just town of Payson, but it's going to be Gila County Transportation Authority.
Which will be great.
Right, and so we're going to be looking at that. And so, we're going to be putting in a monument for the Hashtag Pony Express, and the town of Payson is sharing that expense with the county, and that's going to be a marvelous thing. So.
No, it is. It'll be a great thing. The Hash Knife Pony Express statue right in front of the county building, across from the post office. So when the riders come in, and everyone is gathered at the post office each year, that statue will be there. And if you didn't get a chance to see that, there's pictures from when the statue was unveiled in Winslow.
In Holbrook.
Holbrook.
Yes. But they are synonymous.
Thank you.
They're only about 30 miles apart.
Holbrook, yes.
Holbrook. So that's where the Hashtag Pony Express headquarters is, and that's where they start. And they usually come in January, February to Payson, but we're going to have that monument in place somewhere in the fall of this year. Okay.
That'd be wonderful. No, that'll be a great thing for the town, and a lot of wonderful things happening in Payson and Rim Country in the county. So it's good to see.
Yes.
Just things moving forward and things happening.
Yep, we're doing great.
So thank you so much, Steve, for coming on this morning.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you everyone for listening and watching. And love to hear from you also when if you're watching on our Facebook Live. Don't hesitate to ever comment. Let us know if you have any questions or just, and there was a comment, Sunshine James. Have to reach out to Sunshine. It wasn't a comment about necessarily the county, but she's a Arizona country artist and she wants to get on the show. So there we go.
Hey,
it'd be great to have you. All right, so time to get back to the music with some Who, Vertical Horizon, REM, and more. But first, let's get a quick update from the National Weather Service.
Perfect.
Off.
Thank you.
There we go. You are so welcome. Thank you. And yeah, that I'm going to turn this off. Thank you guys. See ya.